Hello and welcome to Torment, Tides of Numenera. So, we are still in the bloom, in the vast interior. The bloom, unfortunately, blocked off a path. Yeah, can't really go there. The path suddenly ends here, interrupted by an enormous fanged mouth. Yeah, that's not so great. Merchants are pissed. Reseller, the official bloom guide, says I need to look around.
I'll handle it.
I suppose that makes sense. No, this place is crazy. Old slave block. So that is supposedly where the Murdens are. Sutherman the Younger. Oh, what is this? It looks disgusting. A bit of flesh protrudes from the ground, an irritated, angry pustule. It almost entirely opaque, but you see the faintest hints of movement within. Examine the cyst. You study the movement within the cyst more closely, as if in response to your curiosity, the shadow of a hand claws at the interior and vanishes. Someone or something is trapped inside the cyst. Touch it. You feel something pressing against your mind, a sharp presence like the thought of pain, thrusting its experiences into your imagination. As your fingers brush the flesh of the cyst, the memories come pouring in, flooding your thoughts with emotions of lives you've never lived, storing stories from countless lives lost in the bloom. You reach out for a random memory in this swirling maelstrom, and its particulars become immediately shockingly clear. After what seems like hours of flight, you think you may have found a way to elude the older girls. You've swallowed your pride, buried yourself in the mounded refuse of little Niliash. The smell of rotting food and putrid meat filling your nose. Better this than to suffer the abuse they are likely to hand out. Word as you are, you can only hear them as they approach. Where did that little rhubarb go? Demands one. She's standing right in front of you, and she's breathing hard. From the rage in her voice, you know that the beating will be a savage one. At least 4 of them are looking for you, but you know, deep down, that if you don't stand up to them at some point, this will just keep happening. Is that 4 of them? Hold your breath and keep still. The hunters kick desultorily around the trash, one of them coming heart-stoppingly close to your body. You hold your breath, tense to run, and then one of them calls out, "Mirkal, over here! I think she went this way!" You hear their footsteps race off. When they vanish from your hearing, you open your eyes and climb, stinking from the heap. You wake from the vision, your body shaking involuntarily from the experience. A brief moment later, you are reoriented in your own flesh. You find yourself once again standing before the massive cyst in the bloom. You kept your host safe, but you sense that wasn't what was needed here. This vision and the others contained within the cyst fibers are a lock of sorts. To open it, you will need to suffer. You will need to become prey. I walks without fear?
Absolutely.
I was warned about that I can actually affect the life of others in... I don't even know how should I call it. What is the name for that? And that... when I go in their minds? For example, I change Matkina's past. But not just change Matkina's past that... change how she thinks about it, but actually change the past. I changed the past. By just... mind linking with her, something like that. So that's kind of strong. So I gotta watch out for that. I wouldn't wanna just get that little girl killed. At first you are not sure if your eyes are playing tricks on you. A semi-transparent man shuffles and struts before you, his body fading into and out of incorporeality. His once fine clothes have rotted away. His long beard looks to be a host to any number of small vermin, and his eye sockets are disturbingly empty. Matkina studies the man, mentally subtracting and adding his features, and suddenly gives a sharp intake of breath. She whispers, "Can it be? Can it be? No, 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 he couldn't have survived." Somehow the man hones in directly on your face, and you have the unnerving feeling that he can see more than what's on the surface. The staring sockets are deep and cavernous, as if they contain depths and space beyond the confines of his skull. He says nothing to you. Matkina, who is this man? This is the old Memovira, don't you see? The man knows all the secrets of the bloom. He was tied to it, bonded to it. It worked for him for years, alongside that bitch who occupies the position now. When he disappeared, she threw me out. I looked for him for a long time. She turns her attention to the bearded man. Sir? Sir, it's Matkina. You called me the White Death, remember? He turns his cavernous eye sockets to her, and they study her for a long time. Considering, life begins to seep into his face, and a small smile creeps across his lips. I think I remember, but memories are lost in the telling. Thanks again. Better to tell it now and have the story remembered. You say I am the old Memovira, so we must speak of the new to understand my tale. The face... that face so familiar. Memovira, yes. And she, my White Death. Remember. His lips part in a feral smile as he grabs at what last memories in his mind. The new Memovira, bah! What she had done worth mentioning. Who trembles at her voice? Tell me, who fears her steps? Among her people, who wouldn't slip a blade into her back? Oh, she did for me, it's true. Her and her coterie. But I had loyal retainers to the end. Loyalty and fear, like a fist. She may have taken my place, but she'll never match my rule. You're still just a sad little ghost. If the bloom hadn't turned against me after my decade in power, I'd be there still. But she dragged me to the heart of the beast and let it sift through my mind, vetted all my crimes, and then she left me there. Ask your questions of me. While the fragments of memory still linger, ask now, and make the questions count. Wow, okay. How did the new memories unseat you? What happened to in the heart of the bloom? She brought me through a new maw, an entry to the heart I'd never seen. It was then I knew what she intended. And we fought, but she was fast and strong. I was old and drunk. She didn't kill me though. No. She wanted me to suffer for the crime of raising her up. She bound me there, and she stood above me and revealed in my pain as the bloom sucked away everything I was. I'll say this for her. She was better at malice than I ever was. Such excruciating pain. Oh, but the memory slips as well. Thank the gods. How did the new Memovira unseat you? She knew the bloom was angry with me. She told me she'd been below and had something that she thought might explain why I lost my bond. But I didn't know she hidden her killers around the bloom. Or that she was the one who'd ruined shipments or driven off the citizens. She'd put her muscle into play and never even saw it. And she took me to the heart of the bloom. He swallows. When you went down, her thugs moved in. They killed everyone in the fortress who had sworn for you. They hunted us down in the belly of the bloom. They cast us through maws under unfamiliar suns. I fled into the city with a few of your lieutenants. And we had to kill some of our friends to get through the gates. And once we'd settled it up there, she started hunting us into the city, too. She shakes her head. She cast aside years of tradition to hunt me. I would have sworn loyalty when you died. Nothing you could have done, nothing. She was bold and fast. Tell me about your reign as the Memovira. He smiles, a cruel thing almost lost in his beard. I lived with my knife in my hand. I never lost my love for its kiss. I took what I wanted and shared with the rest of my crew, but I had laws. Mind you, laws that strictures that kept the merchants powering through the bloom. No sense is caring of the easy meat. No need to be greedy. They said I was weak, but that was because they didn't know how strong I truly was. And that's why the bitch came for me. Too grasping, she was. Matkina's face is more animated than you have ever seen it. Do you recall when we came down to the Ripcod and their trade in sense stealers? You plugged their leader into his own machine and the feedback melted his eyes. And then the rest of them. You said something to the bloom and the poor floor wrapped around their ankles, and you had us go back to feed them for years until their legs atrophied away. Oh my. Matkina, my white death, is that you? I do remember that. Starts laughing in a hollow, ragged, terrible sound that this disused engine choked in pain. I remember that. You were magnificent that day. Wow, okay. He turns back to you. Quick, ask another question. Let me ask about something else. What do you think of the new Memovira? The memories slip. Lights skittering down the tunnel. As I grab at them, they go. No. His voice pleads. Stop them. They are me. A look of pity crosses her face. She catches your gaze and she shakes her head and looks away. I know his pain, Matkina says. I know. Who are you? What happened to you? His sockets stare into you for a moment while he considers. At last, he shakes his head and says, I do not know. I have language and I have the memory of muscles. I do not remember how I came by these truths. What I remember is waking in the depths of the bloom. I remember walking. I remember years of darkness before I emerged in the upper reaches at last. The bloom took something, took me, but gave me peace in its place. What happened to you? The bloom took my old life from me. I woke in its beating heart and gestated there while it digested my memories. I remember being terrified, but I do not remember what terrified means. He shakes his head to clear it. I had a name, I had a body, I had emotion and a life outside of this form, but I do not remember any of those things now. I do not remember fear. I am reborn in a new life. I am free. What are you doing here? I walk through this larger part of me and let it guide my steps. These of humans mean nothing to this shade. These weapons of humans mean nothing to this shape, and the paths of the bloom open for me. I'm a part of the bloom. It is a part of me. I've been to places others have never seen, and I have seen worlds that lie waiting beyond the maws. You came from the depths of the bloom. What did you see down there? If I speak of them, the memories disappear from me forever. Yet, thoughts themselves are ephemera, like our lives. Gone, and only those who choose to share have any hope of continuation. But even that memory is vanity. In a generation, who will remember these words? His succulous eyes look wary and then back again. He smiles gently. Tell me. Let me tell you what I saw. My memories are useless. Perhaps telling him will increase their life. The bloom reaches through dimension across realities. What did I see? I see a vast beating heart. I traveled through skeins of the bloom's arteries and its viscera. I stood in open maws and looked out across alien landscapes where lost sailors mourn for home, where crystal fields glitter around under distant stars. I walk through the slave block where the great Chilla staged her revolution. What would you know? Wow, damn me of the heart! A great chamber, a place where the bloom spawns and devours its voices, where its whispers gather in conclave, where its intelligence is strongest and sharpest. I woke there, and I knew it for my master. Dangerous, not to me, not anyone, but so hungry. Tell me about the bloom's viscera. The gullet. That is its name among the bloom guides. Place of veins and flesh where the memories of the blooms chosen, where they are digested. Echoes wander the place, echoes of the eaten. He holds a hand to his head, as if pained. I recall stories of the abyss, the gates of Abaddon. The gullet could be their source. Tell me about the sailors. Lascars, they call themselves, holding fast to their history because they fear they have been forgotten. All luxury and gift banisters are their prison bars. What about the slave block? Chilla was born there, not physically, but her legend, the first Memovira. He forces out this last word with an effort and a spray of intangible spittle and a wince on his face. She spoke to the bloom and it answered her. The monument to her strength is a murden nest now. Memo, why is that word a struggle to recall? Yet it feels strong, right? Tell me again about the slave blocks. No. I want to hear about the crystal fields. A great plateau whose towers bedazzle the eye. Lightning flickers among the towers. The strange silicate beings tunnel beneath the glassy surface. There have I watched children of the stars and information speak to one another through dancing colors. Have you been to any of those places? No. I stand at the tip of the tendril and watch the landscape pass by as the great devourer prepares to latch itself to another world. Why would I ever step outside my host? I am without danger here. Each day another piece of myself slips away. The places you spoke of before, have you been to them? I know, at least I no longer remember having been anywhere but my protective host. Let me ask about something else. Never mind that. Why the black free? Her voice is quiet, reverent. I never dreamed the power in this place. If I could tame it, make its strength mine. Why would you sacrifice centuries of life for years of this? You saw the price. You don't know the strength my boss had. I didn't know what he had. You could work wonders with that strength. You could destroy everyone who ever opposed you. That really worked out for him. But what you have to go through to get it, the price isn't worth it. I'm like, no, I don't like that either. No. It's not even enticing. I mean, like, what do you do with power? That really worked out for him. You don't get it, do you? For a time, he was one of the most powerful people in the world, and few even knew who he was. He burned bright and fast. She considers, but you're right, if we survive this, it's a skid straight, fine. You've convinced me with your fancy sarcasm. Let's make sure we can stop the sorrow then, yeah? Come on. She bows to the old man, and farewell to you, sir. Farewell. Alright, old Memovira. What is this? Sunderman and Sunderman. Bloom flesh and sundries.
Here we go then.
Those lie scattered on the workbench, along with fragments of leathery bloom flesh. Oh my. Those, same
Fine.
thing. What is this? Each of these vats is filled with colored dye, extruded by tiny, wriggling creatures that congregate near the bottom. Sunderman Elder, Sunderman Younger. This friendly-looking youth is dipping strips of cured bloom flesh into colored dye. He looks up as you approach, revealing startling yellow eyes. Hello, sir! Are you interested in our wares? They are handcrafted and one of a kind. Now, what sort of work are you doing? I'm Sunderman's apprentice. That means I do whatever he tells me. Really, mostly harvesting usable bloom flesh. It's always an adventure. Flesh harvesting, though my elder tells me I'll be going away on a bigger adventure soon. He grins cheerfully. Can't wait. Hope it's not in the bloom. Tell me about your work. Oh, never mind that. I'm interested in your wares. What do you sell here? You'll probably be interested in the specialty items and the armor we craft from bloom flesh, but we also sell everyday stuff like clothes and building supplies. Everybody buys from us, even those. He shivers. Those murders. Talk to my elder if you want to buy anything. Oh, okay. I'm interested in your wares. Great, you should talk to my elder. He handles the actual trading. Seems like you know the bloom pretty well. Are there any malls nearby? I know of one for sure, in the Jurgen slump. Been there a really long time. I hear there's one in the old slave block too, but I don't go there because of the murders, so I can't be sure. Isn't it dangerous to harvest bloom flesh? Not really. People only fear the bloom when they don't understand it. Booz puffs off his chest. I lived here all my life, and nothing's ever happened to me. Nobody will, youngster. Chuckles the old merchant who stands beside the apprentice. It will. The younger man laughs uncomfortably. Haha! You keep saying that, but you won't say when. And if I did, says the older man, you might try to avoid it. I know I would, if only to see what happens. Farewell. Alright, well, Sonderman and the elder. Near a display of goods that all appear to be made of bloom flesh, either tanned, beaten, carved, or cured, stands an old man who looks fairly tanned, beaten, carved, and cured himself. He also has starting yellow eyes, just like his apprentice. Hello! He exclaims. Admiring my stock? You won't find anything else like it. Not even here in the bloom. All handcrafted and one of a kind. I have some questions for you. Who wouldn't? When confronted with such an unusual merchandise, ask away. I couldn't help but notice that you and your apprentice look very much alike. Well spotted, well spotted. He grins widely, a twinkle in his eyes. And why would you speculate that, sir? I love this story. You'll never guess. Probably your cousin. Your features are not nearly identical, as if you are the same person. Ha! Well done! He claps you on the back. Not many people manage to figure that one out. Let me tell you what happened, or will happen if you like. Actually, that Aeon priest in the slum saw it too. It's somehow more obvious than it used to be. Pfft. One day soon, my younger self will be walking along when the bloom will open in a mob beneath him, and he'll tumble into another world, years in the past. Or maybe the journey to the past will be when he tries to come back. Whatever the case, it will take him many decades and worlds to travel back here. He smiles wistfully. I envy him the experience he will have, but thank him for the memories. Right. Sounds like a dangerous journey. Shouldn't you warn yourself? I did, but I didn't listen. Smiles affectionately at his younger self. Besides, when I think about all the stories I filled my head with, it's hard to remember exactly what I said about when the big day is. He leans in close and whispers, but it's coming soon. Doesn't knowing what will happen change the future? He frowns puzzled. I knew what was coming, but it hasn't changed my past. Alright, I have more questions about you. Go right ahead. Tell me of some of the memories or experiences you had or will have. He looks over at his younger self, who is acidly not listening. He laughs a little, speaks softly. My first journey was to a desert world where the natives look like humanoid spiders. It's the best way I know to describe them. They spoke with their minds and a combination of colors that danced between their fingers. It was difficult to get them to understand me, but we managed to find a way. I'm lucky they didn't need me. When I gained their trust, I worked with them as a guide and hunter, flushed their prey, and they snare it with great chemical lattices. But one was always looking at me like he wanted to get a taste of me. One day he made the move. I ran and found the Bloom's maw still open, but time bent and I came back in the past. He looks at his young self. The one you want to watch out for is give. Okay, I keep that in mind. That name is seared into my memory. Tell me more of your adventures. Well, when I got back to our world, I didn't know it was the past, right? No one I knew was alive yet. I went home and met my parents at the age of my young self is now. I realized I needed to light out and get my feet under me, because I've never been enough of an idiot to ignore a good audience from my older self. He and his younger self laugh at this. I set my heart on reaching the Steadfast. When I came on her, she was... Wait? Why did you stop talking?
Updated my journal.
Haha, because I remember how frustrated I was when the old man wouldn't tell me about the beautiful woman he met. But let me tell you this, she was tall and dark, with eyes that dropped away into eternity. Her voice was the sweetest music, and when she spoke I had to concentrate to get her meaning, because otherwise I'd drift away on the song. Her form was a delight, and we shared a time that... He breaks off again, blushing. It was the best time of my life. Tell me more. Not boring your ears off yet. Hey, fine. We spent the glorious years together, she and I. But as the time went on, I aged and she stayed radiant. She was an augur, see? Long-lived and wise. Eventually I told her I had to return to the Bloom to teach myself how to live. That it'd be years before I could make it back to her. And I'd be old when I got back. She didn't care, she said. You'd find a way to make me young again. And to grant me the span her kind takes for granted. When the boy here heads off on our adventure... Why, then I'll go west again, I'll find her. All right. Tell me more about your adventures. Haha, that's all the stories I can tell you. Right about here where I tell you that I need to save some surprises for my young self. He laughs again. Sometimes this time stream seems to make things especially easy. Can I ask you about the cyst at the edge of the platform? He frowns in the direction you're pointing. I think. Been there as long as I can remember. I usually forget it's even there. Thanks for reminding me. Always figure the Bloom must have captured something in there it thinks is dangerous. And what the Bloom thinks is dangerous, I don't particularly care to meet. Why exactly do you sell here? Bloom flesh, my friend. Bloom flesh. We craft everything out of it. Clothing, armor, building materials, jerky, you name it. The Bloom cultists, in particular, love wrapping themselves in Bloom flesh. But everybody buys from us, even the murderers. You might say our business is blooming. He raises his eyebrows at you expectantly. Ha! His apprentice laughs. Come on, Sunderman. Thanks, Sunderman, says the older merchants. Liked it myself when I first heard it. What do you know about the Bloom cultists? Got some odd notion, those folks. They worship the Bloom as a deity that aren't afraid of being eaten. Crazy, of course, but they are my best customers, so I just smile and nod when they never know about it. What do you think of the Murdens? Sunderman grimaces. Those hunchback beak faces? Or still anything that they can get their claws on. So close to them, and because of that they mostly let us be. But I trust them as far as I can throw them. And I advise you to do likewise. Tell me about... No. Let me see what you got. That's all you got? What's that, a heavy armor? That looks like a heavy armor. That's a medium armor. And only usable by the last cast of. Light melee weapon. Speed edge. Interesting. You might buy that. But it's very expensive. I can't even afford it, I don't have the money. Damn. Well, that's the only thing that we need to watch out for. Anyhow. Shuriken Slump. Old Slave Block. We definitely don't want to head out.
I am the very soul
I
of
know.
action.
Maybe. Let's do it. Let's just jump over it. No. Leap out and of the garbage heap and attack. You try to burst from their views, imagining a dramatic entrance that will leave them stunned for a moment as you wreak your vengeance on the ringleader. What happens instead is that as you draw yourself into leap at them, they see the movement in the pile and they are ready for you, even if you hadn't slipped on the moldering food. Your dramatic leap looks more like an accidental fall into your tormentor's arms. You're slicked with grease and rotten food, and they have a hard time holding you. For a moment you have a chance to break free and run. Or you can stand and fight and show them you're not scared of them. Fight! You lash out and your fist actually connects with the ringleader's face, rocking her head back. The blood that spills from her nose is dark and hot, but the rage in her eyes is cold and dead. She thrusts you back into the garbage, and as you struggle to regain your feet, one of her allies, a girl with snakes for fingers, sees that you hate and tries to pull her friend back. Please, Mirka, not for this one. Mirka says, "Oh yes, for this one." She looks at her friend and says, "And if you don't help, you're next." The four of them get to work. An eternity later, they stop. They spit on you as they leave. You try to move, but a sharp and grinding pain in your leg shrills agony into your mind. Your eyes have swollen shut, your teeth are broken, and your shattered fingers are incapable of even the barest movement. Darkness closes over you. You return to your own mind with the death of your host, knowing that what you saw, what you left, was true. The life you lived was full, rich, ended here in the bloom. Your host's remaining moments were saturated with pain. Your muscles still twitch with the memory of agony, and your suffering bleeds into the cyst, loosening its fleshy fibers. It appears that the bloom has sealed something within the cyst, and your agony is the key that will set it loose. What? You steel yourself for another memory of pain and reach out to touch the crystal. The cyst again. Again, the unbidden memories spring into your mind, and you lose yourself among them until you reach out and seize one. A world of senses explodes into your mind. You know instantly that you are in an abandoned cavity deep in the bloom. You hear moisture beading on the threaded veins over your head, and the chittering of other creatures that share this place with you. Your sight is limited and blurry, but a profusion of colors explodes across your vision, and you associate each with a smell. And the smell is a warning, kaleidoscope of rich inputs that instantly categorize themselves in your mind. Food, fetid warmth, family, and shelter lie ahead. Beneath the base of a thick, outflung tentacle, is a burrow opening, just the right size for your tiny body. The globus of bloom flesh in your cheeks will sustain your blood, be a brute for days. But then the winds shift, and a sharp scent freezes you in your step. Fear suffuses your mind, and you realize that death is at your heels. Turn to see what stalks you. The creature is vaguely feline, enormously tall to your newly tiny form, and thickly muscled. Its purple stripes and rigid frills along its flanks, killing incisors, each almost as large as you. Feel its cavernous mouth, and its powerful claws can smash you flat. It sees you and lunges. Stand ground and protect your family. You turn and rear, filling yourself with air to make yourself seem larger. The beast lunges at you, and one of its paws smashes down upon your spine, snapping it in an instant. That enormous mouth closes on you, and a mighty tooth pierces your side. The creature stares savagely at you, and then, apparently not liking the taste, spits you out. It snarls, baffled, and pads back into the dripping darkness of the bloom. Gasping, you drag your barely functioning body toward the burrow, but your limbs go numb and stop moving. The world blurs around you, aching with unbearable loneliness. You welcome the sweet release of death. Consciousness calls you back to its arms, and you find yourself aching emotionally and physically from these experiences. Your muscles and throb and pulse with the residue of the flight or flight response, and the cyst again responds to your pain. Fibers loosen further. Alright, let's go once more. You steel yourself for another memory of pain and reach out to touch the cyst again. Again, the unbidden memories spring into your mind, and you lose yourself among them until you reach out and seize them. You gaze through the faint shimmer and ripple of the force field, down the silent red vein tunnel into the pulsating black. It looks empty, you know it now. It is now. You feel the eyes on you, the hungry eyes, but you feel no fear. You feel emptiness within you, under a scrap that you want to pick. Examine the emptiness inside you. You remember her laughing face. You remember her closing her eyes, the tentacles of her hair writhing around the back of your head, pulling you in for a kiss. You remember her delighted laughter when you told her you'd found a lost settlement at the end of a quiet tunnel in the bloom, untouched by scavengers, a fortune lying on shelves and in neat crates. You remember leading her by the hand. The pain rises. Your hand strokes the force field's controls. What happened? Keep digging through the memory. You don't want to remember, you don't, but you go deeper anyway. You installed the shield to protect your find from other explorers. But when you fled the ruins and the shrieking things beneath, it was the shield that saved you. You and not her. You saw them fall on her. 10 steps from safety. Pale claws, blood painted, screams from beneath the seething pile. So much blood. She never stopped screaming. Finally, you raised the shield, and only then did silence fall. You look at your hand hovering over the shield controls. For all you know, she could still be screaming down there in the ruins, and it's your fault. The life you were going to build together is gone, erased. You have just one more thing to do. Join her open the force field. This is crazy. Your hands slides across the controls, and you deactivate the screens. Silence follows. She's not still screaming. You feel a moment's relief. The countless nightmares lie to you after all. You take a single step into the dark, another, and then they swarm up the tunnel. and fall on you, biting and clawing and chewing and shrieking. After endless agony, blackness claims you. The ache in your heart has become familiar, even as the sorrow and the heartbreak seem new and fresh each time. Different facets of the same emotion, each refracted through a new experience. The cyst's fibers twitch again, loosening one final time, revealing a frail, angular creature trapped inside. It bursts open of the cyst, leaving a glittering object behind its haste to escape. Oh, it's JSK. Don't run. That's crazy. Now that the cyst has disgorged its prisoner, the husk looks hollow, deflated. Examine the remains. Something catches your eye. It's a piece of sharp metal that protrudes from just underneath a fold of decaying bloom flesh. You cannot begin to guess at its function, but it's small and easy to carry. You slip it into your pouch. Oh, that's a quest item? What? That looks odd. Close it. Continue.
I'll remember that.
The creature within the cyst was an abacus, a being that feeds on transdimensional energies. Assuming that it was in the cyst for any length of time, it must have been surviving by draining energy from the object you just found. Closer examination of the object should tell you more. Leave the cyst alone. Can we check this object out? You found this object inside a ruptured blue cyst. It is made of azure steel and resembles the hilt of a small knife, but the blade is missing. I'm gonna use it. This device resembles the hilt of a weapon. It rests easily in your hand, but there is no blade. Inspect the device anyway.
I'll remember that.
The device is made of azure steel. It appears to be inert and has no obvious function. A stylized name is inscribed into the steel. Ioxu. Behind the strong glass plate, you find a compartment that contains an old, depleted power core. It's blackened and drained, so you toss it aside. You could place another power source inside the compartment, but it may require a particular type of energy. So we have not a weapon, but a depleted weapon, Jurgen camp, and old slave block, and this is blocked off. Walks without fear. Yes. What is this? Shrine of Chilla? Alright.
Of course.
That looks like a dead end. Last car, an Araki. Little Niliash.
Alright.
What is that? Is that a control? The sign reads, "This fate to Little Niliash," in a difficult to understand scroll.
You want it done right.
I always want it done right. Inkpot, Bloom Cultist. But these are the cultists. Ioxus. Wow! Wow. Ioxu.
Here comes the boredom slayer.
Alright. This is interesting. This is a lot. So it looks like we need to head in here and there. And Ioxu, this is definitely where we need to go with that dagger of something of sort. Anyhow.
You won't notice I'm gone.
I won't. Anyway, I believe this is a good time to take a break, so hope you guys had fun. Tell me if you did and see you around, and have a good one.